What is up, everybody? Welcome to RiDetroit Weekly. Once again, I am your host, Jason Hall. The Jason of all trades is what they call me on Instagram. Welcome back, man. Another amazing week. It is officially spring in Detroit, and last week I got a little preemptive and I said it was spring before it was the actual day, but it is actually spring now. It's damn near 70 degrees outside. If you are not outside in some way or another, you need to make that happen, all right? We've been inside way too long. It's time to go get some vitamin D and step outside, everybody. As usual, before we get into this week's show, I gotta remind you to subscribe. You know what I mean? We got our contest today. Yeah, man. After the show today, we are gonna go ahead and pull our 100 subscriber giveaway. So make sure you check the YouTube channel and check all your social media because we're gonna record that. We're gonna get it out. I cannot tell you, we are so excited. It took us a minute to hit 100, but believe it or not, we're actually at 143 right now, and it took us quicker to get to 40 than it took us to get to 100, man. So I'm excited that you guys are all kicking in. You're all sharing, you're all liking, and you're all spreading the word of Ride Detroit Weekly. Before we get into that, also, I got to ask you, do you ride Detroit? We're starting a new initiative. If you're out here riding your bike and you ride with Ride Detroit, hashtag it in your social media. We want to see what you're doing. We want to see what clubs. We want to see who's riding what. So make sure you ride with Ride Detroit. Last week's guest, Mars, man, my homie, hit me all the way up from Mexico. If you know Mars, he is one of the people that pioneered bringing pedicabs to the city of Detroit. Great dude. We talked as much as about pedicabs as we talked about his amazing love for life. He is actually in Colombia and in Mexico working on a photo project where he's taking photos of a lot of people. So if you want to look up Mars on his Instagram, it's Mars Numina, and you can definitely find that out and get involved with that project. Thanks again, Mars, for coming on. This week, my guest is, we've become friends over the last couple of years because it's been awesome. I love the Detroit Pistons, and they love community, so it was a natural fit when we got to link up and do some work together. We did a ride a couple summers ago called the Pistons Fit Ride. We brought a couple hundred people out, and we just rode bikes around the city of Detroit and had a good time and tried to raise awareness about being in shape, man. So this week's guest is one of my homies, Chris Economeas. He's from the Detroit Pistons. Chris, what's up, brother?
Jason, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
No, man, I've been waiting to do this for a long time, man, because I have a relationship with the Pistons, and I think it's a little bit different. You know, most people are fans of the team, but I actually get to, get involved in the community aspect of everything. And thank you for bringing me along on that ride, man.
All right. It's my pleasure, man. It was such a great time partnering with you and getting everybody out there to ride. That event was special, and I mean, honestly, I can't wait to do it again once this summer hits. So
Absolutely, man. So you are the social responsibility manager for the Detroit Pistons. Like, let's get into what social responsibility looks like. You know, they probably didn't have this position, 10 years ago before it was important to look at the way you connect with the social media aspect and community on that level. So talk to me about what your job actually is as far as social responsibility.
yeah, so I agree. I think about 10 years ago, I mean, a little bit longer. It was around, but community relations, it wasn't um, as big as it is now in the sports world because of so many things that we've been seeing on social media, and just a lot of the changes that we're trying to push for. But our organization and then the NBA as a whole, like I think we've really done a good job of making that like community aspect and the social responsibility aspect one. And that's something that our organization, and it starts at the top with our owner Tom and our vice chairman Art Tellum, all the way down to the people in my department, is really just trying to make that impact in the city of Detroit. So a lot of the things that we do is planning these community outreach programs. One of the ones that you talked about was our Pistons Fit program, which is our health and wellness program. That's one of the programs I oversee. A lot of our initiatives align with the NBA Cares platform, and there's just a plethora of programs that we can initiate, and each team kind of operates differently depending on what city they're from. The demographic climate could be, a factor in kind of what they activate on a yearly basis. So, just a high level overview is, basically, I tell people all the time is like when you kind of see those feel good stories on the news with the Pistons or any other team, that's coming from the community and social responsibility side of it. We've even expanded that this year during the pandemic, and we've done a lot around COVID initiatives. And then also around the election this year, we did a lot around getting people out to vote, making sure they filled out their census and things like that.
So when you got the job and like originally took this position, well, let's back it up. You guys were making the move from uh Auburn Hills to Detroit. So like at the beginning of this, your first main concern was really connecting with the community on that level. We'll get into pandemic later, but how do you approach, what was the first thought when you said, okay, we're moving from Ann Arbor to Detroit? What's our first steps on connecting with the community?
Yeah, and I think for us, we always had our hand in the city of Detroit and kind of what was going on. But once the team really announced that we were going to be completely moving down there, and it wasn't just us sharing the arena, we were actually going to build a facility and set up our headquarters there. That's when our whole mindset started to shift a little bit. When we were in Auburn Hills, we used to service a lot of different communities. So it wasn't just Detroit. We would go out to Flint, we would go to Pontiac, we would go to Redford and different areas like that. But once we made the move, we really wanted to be intentional about going to the city and making sure that we left our mark and let them know like we are here and we're here to stay and we're here for the city. So, the transition was a little bit rocky at first just because there was a lot of travel back and forth. Our offices were still in Auburn Hills for I think well over a year before we even moved down into the city. And we were doing a lot of driving back and forth, to and from games, to and from events. But we, like I said, we wanted to be really intentional about making an impact in the city with a lot of our programming. So our whole mental just kind of shifted, and we started tapping into the Detroit public school system and a lot of the nonprofit organizations, things like that. And then we finally actually made our full-blown move, and I think it was October 2019, and then a few months later, boom, the pandemic.
Right. So let's talk about that pivot. I mean, you're coming into a position. Your main concern is once again getting into Detroit, and then we get hit with this pandemic. How do we turn the focus from sort of this fun connection? We're giving out basketballs and hoopers there to like now we need to help people get what they need. You know what I mean? Like, how did that pivot go?
Yeah, I mean, just going back to, what I mentioned is, we wanted to be intentional about making an impact in the community. So, doing that means more than just like the fun stuff, like just passing out basketballs and t-shirts and having these fun events. Like the city of Detroit was hurting, even the communities around the city of Detroit were hurting. So to be able to find a way to make an actual impact beyond basketball and passing out basketballs was really what we were trying to figure out. And that's, I think, what we were able to accomplish during the pandemic. It started off in the beginning where we were supplying PPE to organizations that were in need. Our owner and vice chairman, they did a great job of doing that and coordinating that. And then moving on to passing out food at Forgotten Harvest and
Right.
packing food lunches, boxes, and providing them for families. And then even going into like the Thanksgiving holiday, we did a drive-through Thanksgiving event where we fed over 800 families. We blocked off the streets in front of our practice facility, and we set it up to where families could drive through down Amsterdam, down our street, and we just passed out food boxes and turkeys and things like that. So, like I said, really just trying to be intentional about making that impact and really trying to help families that were in need.
Absolutely, absolutely. How are the players, feeling about this? Have they had a lot of, I mean, I assume that they feel strongly about the community as well. Have they been stepping up and saying, hey guys, let's get involved in this?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, we've got a really good group of guys right now, and even some of the guys that left in the past. We've had a lot of good guys come through our organization over the last couple years, and all of them are willing to lend a helping hand. For example, I mean, we've had some really good help from our former players like Langston Galloway, Tony Snell. They sponsored our Thanksgiving event, and literally within, I think, that week or so, they moved on from the organization, but they still followed through with their obligations, which I think just shows the type of players they are. And even now, our guys are really willing to help. Jeremy Grant's doing a lot of good stuff in the community right now with some donations. So, it's they want to help, and it's just trying to figure out with COVID and COVID protocols the best way to do so. Of course, we want them to do more than just donate money. That's always great, but to actually have them on the forefront and jumping on Zoom calls and being a part of some of these virtual events has really been huge to see.
No, that's awesome, man. So talking about the players and everything, now we're playing basketball, man. How's it been going, over at the arena? I mean, we're up to 750 people in the stands. What's the capacity of LCA?
Oh man, you put me on a spot with that one, and I might get some backlash for not knowing. No, but I think we're in like the 22,000 range, something along those lines. I don't know the specific number, but I know we're over 20,000 is max capacity for a Pistons game, and right now we're at 750, which actually just happened. I want to say over the last couple weeks was when we were able to officially move to 750. Um, it's different. I've only been to 3 games this year, just because of a lot of the restrictions and protocols that are put in place league wide. Um, to go from 250 people, it was like a ghost town, to 750 people with having the concession stands now open, even though there's
Okay.
only a limited amount. But now we're starting with the weather being nice. We're going to start doing stuff in our plaza. We've got DJs playing on the concourse when people are coming in. So it still looks and feels a lot different than anything in the past, but you can kind of start seeing this shift, and it's all positive. Our um, in-game operations team and the production team, they do such a good job of still giving you the feel of an NBA game, whether there's two fans in the building or 750 or 20,000. I think they do a really good job of keeping everybody entertained.
Yeah, I haven't been to a game. I need to get out to one soon, but I just, like I said, can't wrap my mind around. I've seen it, but I can't imagine being in a 20,000 seat arena and be one of 750 people. It must feel
Yeah,
really personal now that I think about it. Like, I mean, they're playing for me. Uh,
yeah.
with all the restrictions sort of lightening up these days, um, how does that change your schedule? Are you starting to look at, doing a couple of events? How's that work?
Yeah, it's definitely coming kind of down the pipeline a little bit. We're trying to be as safe as possible, of course. That's one thing that we strive for. Even last year, last year during the summer, we were able to do some outdoor events. We It's funny because we launched a large scale neighbors program, and Jason, as you know, like we distribute basketballs. We vowed to renovate 60 courts in the city of Detroit, basically giving them a facelift. But beyond that, like we want to be able to go back out to those same parks and basketball courts and program on them, and actually like bring some Pistons programming to the kids in those neighborhoods. So we started to do that last year, but with the pandemic it was very tough because nobody really knew what to expect and everybody was kind of on edge. Now that things are opening back up, we are going to be launching our neighbors program again. Um, it'll probably be a 6 week program around that time frame, and then we're going to look to activate at a handful of different courts throughout the city of Detroit, and put some really cool programming in. Of course, we're going to follow all of our COVID protocols. So we are thinking of different ways with the weather changing like you mentioned earlier. I mean, it's 70 degrees today, so uh, just trying to be a little creative and how we can do some programming and some events.
And how do I get involved in the neighbor project, a program? How do I get involved in
So
that?
right now we're still kind of in the planning process. I know some of the details and information is still kind of being solidified. I know our organization will do what we did last year. We'll have some type of a press conference, or we'll put out a media release. And if you go to our Basketball for All webpage, it'll have information about the Neighbors program. Last year we had a calendar of all the events, and you could go and you could see what was happening each week and each day. So that would probably be the easiest way. I would say, one, stay tuned for the actual release with the dates and the information and what parks. But then from that point, you can check our website out and it'll have all that information on there.
That's amazing, man. 60 courts. That's so when we're talking about renovating courts, we're talking about fixing the ground, we're talking about putting nets in, we're talking about, when we were growing up, the park was the place to go. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And the lack of parks definitely has had an effect on how we interact with each other. So it's a great thing that you guys are getting these hoops back up, man. Uh,
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the team, man. I know this is, we're not gonna talk about what I want to talk about. We might, but the team. Let's talk about the boys, man. I haven't been to a game this year. How they looking?
We're young, but I'll tell you one thing. I mean, we play hard. I really do like the group that Troy Weaver, our GM, is bringing in. Our rookies are actually like phenomenal. I mean, I think there were really no expectations coming into the season with the rookies. Unfortunately, Killian got hurt early on, but I know he's getting ready to come back soon. I don't know the specific date of when he'll be back, but really impressed with Sadiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart and Saban Lee and some of the other young guys that we have. I mean, Jeremy, that was great. That was a great addition, I think, with him. I mean, he was in the running for an All-Star vote. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but he was in the running. So I mean, I think where we're going in a good place. You have to go young at a certain point. And I think that the moves that our GM and our organization are making are going to get us there. It may take some time, but the guys want to win and they're building together. So, I mean, what more can you ask for? And Coach Casey, I mean, he's just phenomenal at building young talent. I mean, you can look at his track record in Toronto and what he did with like Siakam and some of those guys. So, I feel like we're in good hands.
And you got to be real. This is the perfect time to rebuild. I mean, with everything that's going on in the league, the West Coast, man, LeBron and those guys, the way they're packing those teams, it'd be futile for us to really think, let's invest in becoming a contender at this time. So I completely agree with let's strip it down, start fresh, and get some new blood going in. I was sad to see Blake go. It's a sore subject for me, Blake. This is my personal. I'm gonna let you off the hook on this one, Chris. I'm mad, dude. I saw the guy dunk yesterday. They say he hadn't dunked since 2019. What? He's
We
diving on the
we we
court.
saw we saw the dunk too. It was on one of the highlights when he dunked when he was with the Pistons.
And I'm like, what is going on? Like last year, this guy couldn't move. Now all of a sudden he's alive again. But that's all right, man. I'm not mad at him. Like you said, we
I
had to get rid
mean,
of that.
Blake put in some work for us, man. He was out there battling, and you can attest by going to the games and in the
Mhm.
playoffs. Clearly when we played Milwaukee, it didn't work out in our favor, but like he was out there like braces, knees wrapped, like all that type of stuff. He was getting beat up, playing 30, 40 minutes a game. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that he's feeling better, of course, but he put in his work for us. He did a great job, and he was great in the community, and he did a lot for the organization. I think it was something that we needed at the time too.
Mhm.
Bringing in a name like Blake, and then you
Mhm.
follow it up with Derek. That was huge for us, man.
Mhm.
Having those type of players on the team. It was great.
And like you said, we needed that at the time. Do you think, and now we're getting, this is the beauty of my show. Now we're talking about how I feel about it. Do you think that we need an older star? Do you think we need to go out, or do you think we can achieve our goals with just sort of having this young squad that grows up into something? Or do we need to go out and get a couple big guys?
Yeah, I mean, without getting too deep into it, I mean, I don't think we need one right now. I'm hoping that you got guys like Jeremy on the team. Mason, some of these guys that have been in the league for a little while that they can, kind of bring that veteran presence a little bit. I mean, both of those guys came from Denver, and Denver was a playoff or a championship contender, like, I mean, conference finals. So, I think eventually, as our team grows and we get better, bringing in veterans for sure is going to be a help. But you know, need them. I don't know if you necessarily need that, but I think it's maybe not right now, but down the line as we get closer, getting guys in with playoff experience and things like that. That's all a part of building a team, right? I think if you look at any championship contending team, like they all have a good mixture of young players, and then they have their veterans who have been there before and they know what the grind is like, and they know what it takes to win a ring or to get to the championship, at the very least. So I think it just depends on the stage you are in the rebuild or the growth of the organization.
Mhm. Now, I'm with that. I'm with that. So I see you rocking the 313 hoodie.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what I'm saying? Like, that was, talk to me about that. What's going down? All the jerseys were going out. Talk to me about the 313 business.
Yeah, so we as an organization, we brought some really good people in to the company over the last 6 months or so. We've had some transition, but we've got a great team in our marketing department right now. Some folks that came over from Rock Nation and some other teams where they worked in the past, and I think right now the goal is really to tap into the city. Like if you look at our social media, if you look at the content we've been posting, if you follow our pages when we're giving shout outs to some of the local influencers, like we're really trying to have our finger on the pulse of the city and really tap back into Detroit. And I mean, that's what the Pistons are, man. We're a Detroit team. So we've got we've got some really cool stuff coming down the line. Can't divulge all the
I was gonna
information,
say,
but
how you gonna do that, dude? You gonna say,
yeah,
can we
I
get,
mean,
can we get
let's just
something?
let's
Something?
let's just say we're gonna have some really cool some more merch coming out, and it's gonna be cool. Like we've got the 313 line, the D up line,
Yeah, the D up.
which it's been super successful. It's been very popular. I mean, things are like flying off the shelves. Um, we've done some content pieces. I mean, I literally just got this logo tattooed on me a couple weeks ago. Uh,
What? The
yeah, man, we did a
313?
whole yeah,
Uh,
we did a really cool content piece with one of the local tattoo artists. Her name is Lori, Lady L. You may know her.
mm-hmm.
Um, she's one of the best, if not the best, female tattoo artists. Not knocking anyone else that's out there, but I'm just a huge fan and bias of Lady L. But
Yeah.
she goes on a Lady of Ink tour every year, um, and she was gracious enough to come out to the practice facility, which was really cool. And she just set up shop in one of our conference rooms, and she tattooed a few of the employees, and we put the brand new 313 logo on us.
That's what's up, man. There ain't nothing more to heart than a 313 tattoo, man. You can't move now, you know that, right? You if
Right.
somebody
I mean,
offers you a job, say in Phoenix, you can't
I'm
take it.
I'm born and raised, man. I'm an East Side guy, so I have no problem with that. I love it here. So
What does that feel like, man? Is there, a certain amount of pride that, like you said, you're an East Side guy, man, so you know what it's like to be a Detroiter. When you came home, when the Pistons came here, was that special for you, man? Because it felt crazy for me.
it was, and honestly, there was a lot of mixed feelings. I think when we made the move, not just from like a fan perspective, but even from an employee perspective, because there were so many people in the organization that set up roots out in
Mm-hmm.
in Oakland County and things like that. But I think everybody overall knew that the move downtown was for the best in the long run. And for me, I mean, there's always nostalgia going out to the Palace, right? I mean, you got 3 championships there, Bad Boys, the '04 team. It's just a lot of memories. But like for me, having them come home, I mean, it was great. I was excited from day one when I heard the announcement that we were going to LCA, and then I'm like, oh man, like, does that mean our office is going to move? Like, I'm excited. Like, what does that mean? Like, what's next? What's next? But um, no, I mean, it is special to one be a part of the organization. I've been a fan my entire life, born and raised in Detroit, and then on top of that, to work in the community and social responsibility department, to be able to give back to like the same schools and organizations and go to the parks where I used to play ball at and be able to make an impact now as an adult. I mean, it's like a dream job. I mean, there's nothing better. I mean, we've done library renovations, and I've had friends that I grew up with like, oh, that was my middle school, and just to like get those types of calls and text messages, it's special.
That's what's up, man. Detroit is lucky to have you, man, and have you,
Appreciate it.
because a lot of great talent, picks up and leaves, man. But it's important that we keep our hometown pride and keep that talent here, man. So, big ups to you. I gotta
Thanks.
ask, yeah. So, I try not to be a fan when I go to games. I'm a fan, but do you have a moment? Is there somebody you met? Like, have you ever met MJ? I mean, is there a moment where you were just like, wow, like never in life did I think I'd be here right now?
Yeah, so I mean, it's crazy. It, so yeah, Kobe's last game was special. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but to be at the Palace and see Kobe play his last game there, the tribute that we had, to kind of be in the tunnel where he was at, even if it was walking by, just to know like, oh man, like the Lakers are in there, like that was crazy to me. And for me it's a little bit different because I actually started with the Pistons in public relations, and you know when you're in that side or on that side of it, it's really about keeping that even keel. You can't show emotions because like literally that is your job, is to just focus on the facts, right? So you can't really be a fan. So that's how I was brought into the organization. So when I started seeing players and things like that, it was just like, hey, you're going to work just like I'm going to work. So there was no like treating you any different. But I will say Kobe, that night was special. Like I said, even though I didn't get the chance to meet him, but honestly, the one time that I was absolutely starstruck, it wasn't even a player. We did a Motown night, and the Temptations were there, and I got a chance to meet Dennis Edwards, and I was just like starstruck. I got a video. They did like a happy birthday to my mom. It was special. So that was actually the most I was ever starstruck.
Yeah, because that's like I assume that when people think of your job, they immediately think of the perks. They're like, dang, that dude gets to meet people and like, you know, have you ever traveled anywhere? Like, what's the furthest you've gone with the team?
Yeah, so I was lucky because one of the programs that I kind of oversee that I mentioned earlier, well, one of them is Hoops for St. Jude. So we actually set up. We talked to one of the contacts from St. Jude, and when we went out to Memphis, we actually set up a time to go to the Children's Hospital down there, and we did a full team event. We've done it actually a few times. I've been to Memphis 3 times, but I think the trip that I enjoyed the most was it was I was going for Memphis, but because the team was going on the road for a couple days, I got to go to Houston and Memphis in the same kind of swing. So I got to ride on a team plane, got to travel with the team, watch the game in Houston, and then travel to Memphis, put on a really, really cool event with the kids at the Children's Hospital and the players, and then watch the game in Memphis and then come home. I mean, that was, that's usually my traveling experiences, is going to Memphis, but that was probably the one that I can remember the most.
Riding on the player plane. As soon as
Yeah.
you said that, I'm like, oh, buddy, what? I mean, that's. I asked you if you had one of those moments, and you didn't even name that. Like you went somewhere else. I would have been like, I got to ride on a NBA
I know, because
plane.
like honestly, man, it's weird, and I check myself a lot, and I got to remember that I'm blessed to be in the position and working for an NBA team, and there was a lot of times when I was at the Palace that if I ever felt myself kind of like getting away from it, or having a rough day, like I would literally just walk out onto the court and be like, man, like I literally work for the Pistons. Like I'm looking at the court. And when you're working, it's a 9 to 5 for a lot of us, right? We work just like everybody else, and sometimes we do need to get reeled in. Like that is a big deal. Not to play it off or anything, but yeah, riding with the team, that was a great experience. And kind of meeting some of the players, like meeting Rick Mahorn, talking to him. He's a good friend now. Earl Curitan, our community ambassador. So like knowing some of these legends and former players, like all of that stuff is it's a perk, but over the years, you get used to it, right? So I try to keep that in perspective for sure, and always think about like how lucky I am.
And so you guys, man, last year or maybe probably 2 years ago because of the pandemic, you guys gave away a bunch of bikes, man. Every year, I get amazed at how many bikes you guys give away last year.
Whew. So each year, I think our owner Tom Gore, they put on a Toys for Tots event. We do it in Flint and we do it in Detroit. It varies. We usually service in total about 1,500 families, and everybody typically gets a bike. Like all of the kids in the family get a bike. So I mean, if we do it at Eastern Market, I'm thinking we're going to be around 1,000 bikes
You got
that we
plans
give
to
away.
you got plans to try to do it again, or you guys gonna hold off?
Well, we did it again this year. Actually, we
Okay.
did the
Oh,
Toys for
okay.
Tots event at Eastern Market. We did a drive-through event similar to the Thanksgiving give back event that we did. So we set up at Eastern Market. We set up a few lanes. We worked with the Marines and Toys for Tots, and we just did kind of like a drive-through where we didn't have the physical bikes there with like the cool display and everything for like the visual effects of it, but everybody that came through, if they had a child, they got some type of a voucher to Meyer, who was one of the sponsors for Season of Giving with the Pistons. So they were able to go and take their voucher to a local Meyer and exchange it for a bike.
Amazing, man. I got jealous. I ain't gonna lie. I was trying to give away bikes that year and I gave away like 50 and I thought I was the man. And then I turned on the news and they were like, Pistons gave away 1,500 bikes today. I think I called you that day and I was like, we need to partner up because I'm looking real crappy giving out. I need
I
to
mean,
mess with y'all.
you can always give me a bike, man. I can use one.
Listen, we'll talk about that later. I got you on that. We're talking about the kids right now. No, I'm just kidding. So,
You're
Chris,
right. You're right.
man, anything I'm forgetting, man, before I let you go? I know you got a lot of stuff that you can't talk about, but is there anything you want to like let us know that's coming up, that we need to have our eyes on?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's actually a few things. We're doing a Steam event. It's going to be a virtual event. It's going to be set up kind of like a science fair, but it's all going to be centered around science, technology, engineering, arts, math. We're teaming up with Code 313 for that. That's coming up on April 17th. So keep an eye out for the promotions on our social media page. It's a free event for ages 7 to 17. There's going to be breakout sessions. They're going to be teaching you cool things like virtual reality, how to fly drones, how to do graphic designing, so many cool things. So, that's coming up right around the corner. But, moving forward, like I mentioned, we are going to be doing our neighbors program again. So that's something that's going to be down the pipeline and is a huge initiative for our organization. And then, hopefully, Ride Detroit, man, we can team up for this Pistons Summer Series again. With our Pistons Fit program with Henry Ford Health System, we do our Summer Series every year. Last year, we hit a couple bumps in the road because we weren't able to do a lot of our in-person events like the bike tour, and we did like some cool like yoga and Zumba events. But this year with the restrictions lifting, we're going to be able to do more of kind of like week-long events where people can kind of go out and do their own thing, and we'll just kind of have some cool things along the way. So that summer series will probably be June, July, and August. We'll do one event per month, so it'll be like a week-long event per month. So.
Okay, well, you get me the info, and I'll make sure I get the links out to people so they can get the information and get
Cool.
involved in everything that's going on. Chris, thank you for coming out and hanging out with me today, man. I've been trying to do this for so long. I love what you do. Love you. Congratulations once again on the new marriage, new dog. We talked earlier, man. You decided to take everything on in life like at one time. You were like, oh, it's a pandemic. Good idea. I'm gonna go ahead and get a dog, get married, and do all these life moves.
Go hard or go home, man.
I love it, dude. Everybody, Chris Economeas, thank you, brother. I will talk to
Jason,
you soon.
thank you, sir. Ride Detroit. Thank you. Keep doing your work.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you in a minute. Wow. See, every Wednesday, this smile is 100% legitimate because every time I get to talk to a different friend or a different person making an impact in the community on a positive level. And how could I not leave away from that feeling good? Wow. All right, everybody. Before I go, let me thank my sponsors and remind you before I get into that, we are going to do the 100 subscriber giveaway right after this. So watch for that video coming up. We're going to give away that prize. Oh, we're going to do it right now. Oh, how about that? See how this works? We're going to do it right now. You see what we got going on right now? That is the random comment picker. Anthony, hit the button, baby. Who wins? Let's see. Here we go, baby. And of course, it would be somebody who I can't even pronounce that name. Like Brione's season. Congratulations from Portland. Oh, from Portland in the house, baby. That's right. Congratulations. Look at that. Somebody from outside of our hometown just took money out of here, y'all. That is how we do this. That is why I am so excited to hear that Portland's in the house. We're gonna do another contest when we get to 500. Now we're giving Detroit once again another opportunity. Y'all got shined by Portland. Y'all got another opportunity to get in here and win a prize. When we get to 500, you're subscribed now, so you're in there. Tell people. I'm sure we'll come up with some ways for you to maybe get multiple entries. We'll figure this out as we evolve. But man, Portland in the house, dude. That's what we're talking about. I want to thank our sponsors, Loomis Helmets, obviously, right there. Every week I get it wrong when I do it backwards. Loomis Helmets, yep. 77 programmable screens on there, plus some pre-programmed ones. These helmets are MIPS certified. They're not just novelty helmets. They're great to go. I also want to thank Griffin Claw Brewing, Electric Avenue Bikes, which is the home of Ride Detroit and Ride Detroit Weekly, American Cycle and Fitness, Wingman Water, Tap Beverages, of course, the maker of the Purple Power Up. Y'all are slacking. For the last couple of weeks, I've been like, can I get some suggestions on names? And all the names have been like Purple Passion, Purple. Come on, people. Y'all can do better than that. Hit me in the comments with some possible names for the Purple Power Up from Tap Beverages, which is our plant-based energy drink that we have on tap here at the shop. Feel free to stop in and try it. All right, everybody? With that being said, I think that's a wrap. See you guys next week on Ride Detroit Weekly.